This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glyn Lavender.
Hi and welcome to episode 549 of Shutters Inc.
Hi.
This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com and the high person himself, Mr. Glyn Lavender from creativephotoworkshops.com.au. How are you?
It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's too early to be high.
That's right.
I'm lucky to be awake.
There you go. How's your last 2 weeks
time
been?
for a nana nap anyway. Has it been 2 weeks?
It has.
It feels like 14 days.
It does feel like that.
Now, I've got to say, for those people watching at home, doesn't Bruce look funny today, being orange?
Yes. Yes. Thank
this
goodness.
is a video podcast, isn't it? I've never seen an episode.
Thank goodness they can't see us.
Is it not a video podcast? Maybe we should catch up to the 2000s and go video one day.
Maybe we should not.
No. But my mates Cam and Brendan, who do the Down South Photo Show podcast, which is worth I'm not sure if it's worth a watch. I've never watched it, but they do a video one,
Right.
and it's all on landscape photography, so it wouldn't be of interest to anybody that listens to us. But speaking of people listening to us, I was talking to a new listener this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a mate of mine I used to work with in the camera business years ago, and I needed an accessory put on my car, and he's handy and I'm not, so I got in touch with him. And anyway, he goes, "Oh, you're still doing the podcast?" I said, "Oh, yeah." And he goes, "What's it called again?" And he started listening to it. And he came
so
back
now that he's spoken to you, he's a former listener?
Yeah, well, I said, "No, there's 500 plus episodes to listen to." He goes, "I'll go have a listen." And he messaged back and says, "I lasted 15 minutes." And I said to him, "Well, you've heard pretty much everything. You've heard all 500 episodes." you caught that's a fairly good synopsis of an episode, all in that one little 15-minute bundle, you know. Right. So we may or may not have a new listener, but it didn't sound promising. Can you look at the stats of our podcast? Does anybody actually still listen?
Yes, mate, they do.
They do? Okay.
Yeah.
Not just people we know?
No.
Hey, here's an idea. Can you find out what time of day people listen to the podcast?
No.
Do they put it on like 11 o'clock at night to try and go to sleep?
No. I can see what time they've downloaded the podcast, but that doesn't tell me when they've listened to it.
So, because you should get, you should be able to listen to what they're listening to. So, whilst they're listening to it, if you hear, you know, the listen. Because here's a bit of a weird thing. There's a BBC TV show called Pride and Prejudice. It's like from the 90s, I think it was. And it's a 6-part episode, and it's streamed on Stan. Yep. A streaming service here in Australia. Well, that's how I get to sleep at night.
Right.
Normally I can't get to sleep till about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah, and so around about 1:30 I put on Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, just have it playing in the background, and that's my white noise basically to get me to sleep. Yep. And so I reckon if I'm probably keeping it streaming in Australia because it's still getting so many views every week. Yeah, it's just me listening to it as I go to sleep. But if they would really find out that no one's actually watching, they're just snoring in the background, they may cease and desist. And it could be the same for us. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, my 2 weeks have been okay. I've been out shooting a bit. Finished your secret squirrel mission? No, still going. I'm supposed to be doing a video shoot tomorrow. A film crew following me around whilst I shoot a model. Right. And of course, you do the best things you can for planning, and you plan as far in advance as possible on the best possible weather day possible, which we did. Yeah. And the closer we got, the worse the weather got, to the point where it was going to be 90% chance of rain and 11 degrees as a
Is this for tomorrow?
For the day. Yeah.
Oh. So there'll be an indoor shoot then?
Well, problem is, the brief for the video, it needs to be fun, sunny, vacation-y kind of looking.
Did they choose the date?
No, well, I chose the date based on out of this time of year. This is in the window I need to film. It was the best day weather-wise, It still wasn't great. I mean, we had snow not far from us a couple of days ago.
Right.
And hail here and pouring rain, howling winds. I think it only got to 8 degrees one day a couple of days ago.
Oy.
So it's not the fun, happy, outdoor, vacation-y kind of looking sort of stuff.
Do they not understand that they are asking you to shoot this in winter in Melbourne? Do they not understand what winter in Melbourne means?
Yes, they don't. You just have to make magic. And of course, yesterday it was beautiful blue sky for at least half the day, sunny and blue sky. Today's even it's a bit overcast, but it's okay. Tomorrow's going to be a storm, so we've cancelled it. We've put it off to Saturday. We're just kind of getting to the very end of the timeline I've got to produce the video. And it's supposed to be reasonable with some sun. Yeah. But what if it all turns to crap? It all turns to crap. The joys of doing all this sort of stuff. So I still got a bit of stuff to do with that, and still some more shooting to do.
Yeah, right.
Base rate, just things like minimal optical distance photos, which I can't really get inspired to do, so I've been putting off. But it's like, I don't know, but so I think I had a good night the other. I got a cup. I went out and I got like 3 shots the other day. I'm going to pull my web camera down to it so everyone can see, and by everyone I mean just Bruce, because turns out we're not a video. I don't know, I've been doing my hair all these times, Bruce, putting my makeup on before going out. Why won't you minimise, you stupid thing? Okay, now Windows won't even minimise anymore, Bruce.
Yeah, right.
This is bizarre. Look at that.
All I'm seeing is your pop filter and your microphone.
Can you see my cat?
Yeah, I can see your cat.
Pretty good. So that's what I did the other day.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, that's my kiddo walking through the middle there.
Yeah.
But of course, they want you to take these amazing architecturally, city type shots. But you're not allowed to photograph in these buildings. Yes. and you're not allowed to use them for commercial use, and you're not allowed to use anything that's got logos and all the other joys that these projects put on you. So I just shoot and hope for the best. Yeah. And that's kind of it. Just overshoot and hope you get something that actually... And of course, you know what it's like. Okay, so I've been uploading images to them as I'm shooting. Yeah. And there's some I'm going, I really like that. That's just really, really good. And there's some I'm going, that's pretty average. But it's at least it's a different type of image. Yeah. So I've uploaded it and they've come back, can we see a larger resolution photo of this one? We're considering using this. And I'm looking, that's the worst photo I've uploaded. Of all the photos, that's the single worst, the most boring, uninteresting, crappiest shot imagiable. And that's the one you're liking? Yeah, a shot like the one I just showed you, which I think is pretty crackingly good. Yeah. It would garner people's attention. Yep. When they see that, it make them stop and look. Yep. They haven't even mentioned it.
Crickets.
Zero.
Mate, that's marketing people for you, mate. No idea.
So very, very frustrating. But I just don't get. And so you can see how hard that makes to shoot when you're shooting. And this is a thing I heard about why photographers and why graphic designers and artistic people are always going to be safe from AI. Yeah. Because for AI to be successful requires the person doing the ordering to have a clue what they want. Yep. And to be able to describe it accurately, and they have no idea. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of true. Yeah.
It does boggle the mind that the people who are employed by these, lens manufacturers to do the marketing are not photographers at heart. Yeah. They might have picked up a camera once, but obviously they're not photographers the way, we think of ourselves and exactly and have, that technical understanding of what makes an image work or not work,
So here's another shot. Yeah. Can you see that one there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So pretty interesting, and it's dramatic. They wanted something where there's detail in the corners that they can magnify and show, and but still be architecturally interesting. And and there's another one of my kiddo.
Oh,
with a bit
nice.
of movement, a bit of drama, and
love it.
This one of just a sign with reflected colours and vibrancy and stuff. So all this stuff, which I think is pretty decent.
Yeah,
there's crickets, and let's see if I can find. I don't know if I've got it on this computer. The
Clint's already deleted it.
Here's the image that it shows. It's a TIFF, so it's like a fraction. One of the ones I want to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, seriously?
Nothing there. Yeah.
Isn't that the most boring, god-awful, terrible photograph you've ever seen? I wouldn't even want to take that with my iPhone.
Yeah. There's nothing exciting about it.
No redeeming value.
No. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, shit. There we are. So I'm just putting my camera back up. So it's I don't know. It's just beyond odd.
That is crazy.
So I've been doing that and talking to new listeners. I'm trying to gain as new people. Look at all the stuff I'm doing for us, mate. We're going gangbusters. And I can't think of this. I've been sort of trying to plan. I had a plan to go overseas this year with the family, but massive medical costs with the kids has just completely screwed all that. $25,000 in bills and going. Yep. And still going. Is put the kibosh and all that. But so I'm trying, and plus my wife can't get time off work, which is a complete pain in the ass as well. Yep. So I've been researching a reduced trip just to maybe drive up to Central Australia, but that takes 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, there and back. And so now I'm looking at a reduced.
It'll be a day trip to the Grampians.
No, I'm not going that far, dude. That's 3 hours each way.
Sorry, a weekend trip to the Grampians.
No, I'm not going for a whole weekend. We can't commit that sort of time. Yeah, the cats need feeding. Oh, God. One other thing, I just got off the phone yesterday with coordinating between Tamron, Australia, and the Bright Festival O Photography, which is coming up in October. So it looks like I'll be doing for Tamron and Croydon Camera House a bunch of workshops and a seminar for them over the course of a 2 or 3 day weekend, which would be pretty good.
But
here's the thing: I'm doing night LED portraits. Ooh. So portraits at night using LED lighting.
Nice.
And the other workshop is photos in locations. Is the name of the workshop. If
that is not the most successful workshop ever run, I will be disappointed.
So, but that's my specialty. Yeah, that's my shtick.
I know.
Photos in locations.
I know, and you always come up with cracking images out of those said locations.
So surely that's got to at least garner a little bit of interest. You would hope.
You would hope.
Oh, yeah. So I've been introduced to a new brand of lights, which I didn't know the people who import Tamron import, called Rotalight.
Okay.
LED lights, and they're basically just round LED, but specialised photographic LED lighting panels, but round, but completely customisable colours and RGBs.
Nice.
And, they have millions of colour tones you can use and all sorts of stuff, and all battery operated. And look, they're not cheap. They're like expensive pro lights.
Yeah, right.
And they can also be used as LED flashes as well. So high speed sync flashes and LED panel all in one, which is kind of interesting. So
wow.
So I'm hopefully going to get access to one of those in the next couple of days, or a couple of those in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a bit of feedback on those once I start using them and have a bit of a play. But just the ability to be able to change colour to any colour you want with your phone, because you can do it as you like, can be set up down there, and you can just scroll through all the colours as you change stuff around, sort of blend in or to contrast against the environmental lighting. No gels, no any of that kind of stuff. I reckon it's going to be a hell of a good creative tool to use. So looking forward to having a play with those. It's actually got me a bit excited when I go out and take some photos, which is unusual. Yeah. So anyway, so that's it. That's been my 2 weeks. Yours has been crap. I hear you're looking at moving a house.
So our house is officially on the market now, and just the hoops we've had to jump through,
mate, if some real estate agent wants you to jump through a hoop, I'm not sure that's going to help sell the product.
Yeah. So New South Wales has brought in the 12 years since we bought this house, legislation that you have to register any pool or spa. And they've backdated it, so it's retroactive. So we now have to register our spa before we can sell our house, and then you've got to get it.
Yours is already there, so it doesn't matter.
You would think, but no.
No, you wouldn't. You'd think it's a law. So here's the thing. Let me propose this back to you.
Yeah.
If you had a swimming pool with no fence around it,
yep.
And after a multitude of childhood drownings in people's backyards,
yep.
the government said if everyone's got a
yep.
pool, they've got to put a fence up around it.
Yep.
But your pool's been there 5 years.
Yep.
Would you not have to put a fence up?
No.
Why?
And here's my argument. Here's my argument.
Go on.
If you drive a car built pre-73, you still do not have to put seatbelts in that car. You can drive that car legally without seatbelts because that's the way it was manufactured. So why is it different with pools? Now, I totally get the argument. We want kids to be safe.
No, I'm telling you, Bruce, you can't put a seatbelt on a pool. I don't know how you think this argument's going to hold water, like the pool holds water.
So I get the safety argument. I do. But I do think...
You just don't care about children. You haven't got any young enough ones. You don't care about other people.
I just think that it's kind of weird that cars that predate seatbelts can still be driven legally, but pools that, were built without fences or whatever.
Would those cars now require special permits, license permits, as opposed to just standard registration?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Because I think there's actually special... I know certainly over certain... You had those club permit car license places.
Oh, yeah, well, that's just about getting reduced registration costs.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's all about getting your registration costs reduced. But the flip side of that is that if your car is registered as a historic vehicle, it can only be used for club days and special events and blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to drive it as your everyday driver.
Okay.
But people do.
Yeah, of course.
But... You can be questioned if a police officer pulls you over and you're driving a vehicle with historic plates. They can say, okay, what club event are you driving to or from? And if you don't,
so what about the argument of the government brings in all houses must have smoke detectors?
Yeah, which they did.
Okay, would you not put a smoke detector in? Isn't that not the same argument as having a swimming pool fence?
It is. It is the same argument.
You've got no comeback on that one, have you?
No, I don't.
I got you, Bruce. I got you. Bruce, gotcha.
Anyway, we're getting off track. Point is, we've had to get the spa registered with the registration body, and now we've got to get a new spa cover because Randy, the dog that Max foisted upon us before he racked off to Darwin, decided to chew our spa cover and rip it to shreds. Uh-huh. And to get a new one made is going to be a 6-week wait, and it will cost us somewhere in the vicinity of $700 to $800.
Jesus.
Because it's got to be...
Go to Fiverr.com. They do all sorts of stuff on Fiverr.com.
Yeah. So, not happy with the dog.
No.
I mean, he ripped it apart 12 months ago. We've had no spa cover for the last 12 months, but now we've got to get one because that's part of being compliant. It's got to be a lockable spa cover. Yeah. So,
do you use
very
the spa?
Frustrating. Yeah, we do, or we did. We haven't for the last 12 months
because since the 70s.
Well, we haven't for the last 12 months because without a cover on it, it gets full of dirt and leaves and crud like that. So we actually just ended up draining it a month ago and cleaning it out. And, we're just going to leave it empty until it's sold.
Yeah.
So, it's been a frustrating period. So for the last 3 months, we've been looking at houses pretty much every weekend, going to open homes and We've seen one or two that we liked. There is a place currently on the market that has a 4-room recording studio on the property.
Oh, man.
Which I would dearly love to buy.
Funny about that.
But Kath is just...
Because that's what you need. You need 4 rooms of recording studio.
Well, you do, because it has a drum room, it has a vocal booth, it has an ISO booth, and then it has a storage compartment that can be used as a second ISO booth. So it would be awesome. I could actually make a business out of that. But Kath is not sold on the house. She doesn't like the block of land because of the slope that it's on, and yeah, it looks like we're not going to be buying that, which is kind of disappointing.
Can you ask if you just buy the rooms?
Yeah, I wish.
Can I just rent the rooms from you guys?
So the guy,
whose place was it? Do you know why the person had all that stuff in the room in the house in the first place?
He's a recording engineer like me, and he runs a business out of it. Cool. But he's building a new house and a new studio about 10 minutes drive away. Yeah, so he's selling this. He's actually renting the house out to one family. There's also a third dwelling on the property, which is a 2-bedroom granny flat, and he's renting that out to a permanent long-term tenant.
Man.
And then he's got the studio, which he uses through the day, so he's making income off that. And then he locks the studio and rents it out as an Airbnb, because there's a bedroom, a living space, a bathroom, and a kitchenette there. And he's Airbnb-ing that 7 nights a week. He's making I think I worked out he's making about $2,500 a week off this whole property. So he's clearly doing okay, and he's selling that up and bought himself another block of land to build a house and a new studio on, and in discussions that we had when Kath initially said, yeah, this looks great, we had conversations with the real estate agent, and she said, look, would you be prepared to rent the studio back to him while he's getting his new studio built? And I said, yeah, I'd absolutely be open to talking to him about that.
Money. Yeah.
It was kind of really looking good for both parties, and then Kath's gone, yeah, this doesn't really work. I was like, oh, man, are you serious? Where am I going to find another house with a recording studio?
Yeah, what's the chance of that?
Exactly.
Your real estate agent, this is what I'm looking for, and she just looks at you blankly. Yeah, right.
So, so it's been a frustrating, month or
it's a hard
3.
process, I'd imagine, anyway.
Oh, it is, yeah. And of course, then you've got all of the, relevant time constraints with selling our place and needing to vacate here. And are we going to have found something that we can buy? And are we going to be able to settle both properties before we go to Alaska in September, which is only 10 weeks away, and then we're going to be away for 3 weeks. So if we sell now, we want to be settled before we leave, or we have to say, you need to, be happy to settle at the end of September when we get back.
And that changes your viable market.
Exactly, so it's just all these extra headaches that you just don't need. And so the reason for my, lighting looking crap on this Skype call is the fact that I've had to pack my lights away because we've got to make the house presentable for the open home, which is happening on Saturday. This will be our first open home this weekend. So, it's just...
And you're choosing the orange lighting as a way to make the house look pretty, are you? Or
it was just a case of putting down the big stand with the softbox on it and just trying to tidy up, so...
Because I've always found dingy orange as such a selling feature. Yeah, you want to see what the 70s were like? Come in this room.
So anyway,
we should talk some photography.
We should absolutely
like an hour and a half or whatever.
Yep. What do you got on your list?
I've got nothing. Have I got anything? Do I have something?
Pentax
I had something.
film cameras.
Pentax apparently coming out with film cameras, new ones.
Right. That's interesting.
They're about to release, or they've got a project on where they're about to release, or about to build and design a fixed lens film camera,
a compact.
And then there'll be and then hints that there'll be a film SLR camera released next.
Wow.
Now we're going backwards in time. Maybe Pentax can become relevant again by retro film.
Wow.
But here's the thing, and this is just coming to my head just then.
Yeah.
Isn't one of the appeals of film cameras is the old retro cameras you can pick up, and play with, as opposed to a brand new shiny out of a box. I mean, the cameras would have to have, if it's a new one, would have to have some retro-ish kind of appeal to appeal to the market anyway.
I think there is an appeal for the look of film, and I think there will be a certain segment of the market that would be quite happy to buy a new camera that they know is going to last for 20 years, which will be able to give them that film look. Presuming that they can actually find film stock to put in it.
Well, films, Kodak's now to start up a second shift for doing films. So they've actually, they're actually going gang. So films on it is that's here to stay. I think you'll find. For the next decade or so.
I keep drawing the analogy between this and vinyl.
Yeah.
I love buying new vinyl that I know is free of crackles and pops, and I play it with a new stylus and try and
you want it free of crackles and pops.
I do.
Isn't that the whole appeal of vinyl?
No.
Really? I thought that's what I thought. Crackle when it sticks in the same word. That was the appeal. Then you get like a 5-cent coin and bounce away on top of your needle to try and make it go over all the jumps. Is that bringing you back in time?
Yeah, that is not the appeal.
Oh, okay. I don't. I think there's some similarities in the psychology of use.
Right.
Whereas to play the vinyl is a commitment to a side, generally.
Yep.
At least. Yeah. So it's a time commitment to 20 minutes of the same artist without skipping.
Yep.
Whereas film, it's the appeal, I think, a lot is not so much the look, but the delayed gratification, the not knowing what you've got for a long period of time.
Right.
So, you can visualise what the photo might look like, but you have no idea until you get the film back.
Sure.
So that's a dramatically different user experience for people who've grown up in the world of mobile phones where everything's instant. You can see the result instantly, to having no clue what the photo is going to look like. I think there's a lot of appeal to that, not just the cruddy lo-fi results.
Yeah. I also think film tends to be a little more forgiving with the highlights than digital does.
I don't think people care about that, do they?
Maybe not. Maybe they do.
I think the people who are using it is not so much an aesthetic thing about worrying about dynamic ranges and all that. It's. And I was just reading an article before about this guy saying he was travelling through Europe and he saw lots and lots and lots of people with film SLRs around their necks.
Yeah.
All the young people seem to have an SLR around, but no one was taking photos. It was like an accessory.
Yeah, right.
To be walking around with, and I guess it can feel, if you've only got 24 or 36 photos to take, maybe for that day, you're not photographing that often.
No.
The time between shots that you're going to, if you're intelligent, you're going to curate.
You're going to be a little more selective about when you fire off.
So you're not going to be taking an awful lot of photos during the course of a day. But I'm sure, but having it out there on display, you can. There's a certain element. Where it is affectation as opposed to actual aesthetical quality of the result you're getting. I mean, you remember back in the days of film when you go to pick up your envelope of photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going into the store and you can't wait. And having done this thousands of times, giving people their photos over the years.
Yeah.
And the first thing to do is they open the envelope, start flicking through them. Because they're so keen, they finally want to see the result. You know? And I was in the photo business just as overnight film developing was starting to become a thing. Not 1 hour, but overnight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you could actually get your film back the next day rather than 3 to 5 days, which was what it used to be.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, and then and I clearly remember the queues of people standing outside camera stores that had the 1 hour machines finally.
Yeah.
And they'd be watching the photos coming out.
Yeah.
And there'd be people all queuing up outside. Usually it's because someone was putting their nudes through it. The family porn. Not family porn, you know what I mean? Consenting adult. Anyway, but that sense of anticipation to see the image that you had no idea what it was like, I think still is a very big draw to that stuff, more so than the visual appeal. I don't think, wow, gee, I just love how undefined everything is in this photograph. It's such a massive appeal. But I clearly remember this woman came into the store once and she wanted to pick up her photos, and so I handed them over. It was very attractive, early mid-20s girl, and she's sitting there looking at them, the photos, and I can't see them because it's just, and then she puts 2 or 3 of them out on the counter. It's all her nude. She goes, What's happening? Why is this little smudgy thing happening in this corner? And I'm like 16 at the time. So I'm like, and there was this one guy, and we'll just call him Murray because that was his name. He used to come in with the most horrendous porn, mostly just of himself. And it was just horrendous stuff. So we used to go like down to the takeaway shop and buy a couple of like potato cakes, really greasy potato cakes, put them all over our fingers, and then put our greasy fingers all over his photos. Try and get the hint that, God, mate, people are looking at this and they don't want to see it. Oh, God.
When you say over his photos, you meant over the prints or over the negs?
Actually, on the prints. Actually, on the negs, on everything. Anything could get we didn't want to be putting our hands on any of that, but we'd make the junior do that. He still kept, every week he'd come back with more. God almighty. Fortunately, he was one of those guys who'd like to show them, because I still have nightmares 30-odd, 40 years later. So I thought that was interesting. Pentax with film cameras. And there was an article, and before I go on to the article, DP Review's back.
Oh!
It's not dying anymore. It's being bought and is back, baby.
Wow. Bought by who?
I don't pay that much attention. Some media organisation that has media organisation things.
Right. Okay.
They're owned by, I can't remember. It's not important.
So you said it was an Amazon property before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then it's going to be closed down, and then they've been acquired.
Oh, by Gear Patrol.
Who?
Gear Patrol.
That's them, yeah.
Wow.
Who have lots of content on the web with other stuff, but not photography, I'm told. So
right. Wow. Well, good. Yeah, good to know.
So it's back. Yeah. So it's going to be an ongoing thing, which is good. And so on DP Review, there's an article, and I've linked the article there for you to put on the thing, on Adobe's denoise finally being good.
Right.
So for Photoshop and Lightroom, that their denoise is finally getting up to the point where maybe third-party denoise programs are not required.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's pretty interesting, because, I mean, I hate having to go from one program to another program to another program to get the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And so having a denoise, and surely as the premier bloody photo editing software in the world, it shouldn't have taken this long.
No.
To be a market leader. And I was thinking about it, and I think, well, they're a little bit like Apple. Like Apple have a great core product.
Right.
But they sometimes, look at the stuff that's other people are doing with apps that are so damn good, and Apple have nothing like it inbuilt into their system.
Yep.
But then 2 or 3 or 4 years down the track, once it's kind of settled down, they bring out their version of it.
Yeah.
But they let...
Like being able to copy and paste on an iPhone, which took years after Android had it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's all stuff. It's like to make other people do all the legwork and test the market and see if it's got a demand before they put any effort into it.
Yeah.
So I can certainly see Apple having Adobe being a little bit that way.
It's funny that you bring up this story, because I had noticed over the last probably 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll preface this by saying I've not done any Google searches for noise reduction, but my social media feeds, so, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, full
Pornhub,
full to the brim of ads for Topaz AI.
Really?
Absolutely. Every time I'd flick my finger, there'd be an ad for Topaz AI.
And I've seen nothing. I've not seen one.
Wow, they are really...
So it's not like it's an advertising thing, that they're blanket advertising. Anyone's got something to do that's registered an interest in photography.
Yeah, right. How bizarre.
Because that is weird.
And you've not seen it?
I have not seen one.
Wow. Because I was thinking, they're going all out all of a sudden, like really just flooding the market. And
I've seen nothing.
Wow. Okay.
It'll be interesting now I've said the words noise reduction out loud.
Yes.
I was talking to my wife last night about YouTube and YouTube advertising.
Yeah.
That I've noticed the advertising is getting more and more local to my area.
Oh, okay.
Than just general. So there's been adverts for the local phone shop in my small local shop just up the road.
Wow.
And the local, the first sort of medium-sized shopping centre a little bit further away, advertisements for businesses just in those shopping centres.
Yeah, right.
And it's actually filmed in my phone shop.
Yeah, right.
And it's the people who work there.
Nice.
And this is done by Telstra, so it's a mega, but they're going and filming individual stores.
Yep.
And actually prioritising their advertising to suburbs now, not just estates or countries, which is quite remarkable. You know,
it kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, they've got the geolocation data. Why not employ
Absolutely.
it?
I mean, I can see that, but there's certainly going to be a cost factor in having to drill down to that sort of level. But how interesting.
But maybe that cost is getting cheaper and cheaper now with things like Fiverr and with some of these AI things that you'll be able to walk in there, with your mobile phone, shoot a little bit of random footage, get all the staff waving to you on your phone, and then, upload that footage and AI will crank out a 15-second or a 30-second ad before you know it. So maybe the cost of production is getting cheaper, and that's making it more viable.
It's certainly opening up an opportunity, I think, for low-cost content makers to provide local advertising, which... when was the last time you ever heard of anything having a budget for local stuff?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how everything got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it seems to be sort of coming in closer and closer and more personalised.
The only place where I still see local level advertising like that is on the rare occasion when I go to the cinema. And I see ads for local businesses.
Exactly. The Val Morgan advertising. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. And now it's on my TV or on my internet, on my YouTube.
Well, you see, I don't see YouTube ads because I pay for YouTube Red, or what used to be called Red. I don't know what they call it now, but I get no ads on YouTube, and I get YouTube Music, and it costs me $17 a month for the family. So I don't see the ads on YouTube, but. Yeah. So I see lots of adverts because I watch a lot of YouTube and I'm not paying any money for it. It kind of reminds me, I can't remember if it was the Bruce Willis film Fifth Element or there was a science fiction movie, or a movie, it might have even also been in Back to the Future, but where a guy's walking through a shopping centre and these advertisements, holographic advertisements are popping up. Hi, Dave, how you don't actually recognise because you got your biochip or whatever in you. Yeah. And it's actually incredibly advertising to the person, not even just to the suburb. And you could certainly see... Was that not in Blade Runner 2049?
It could have been in that one too. Yeah. I think it's been used in a fair few. Yeah, that's why I've got this amalgam of images in my head. And if AI is creating all that stuff, there's almost no cost at all, is there?
That's it.
I was just thinking, there might be an opportunity for photographers and for videographers, but it might be a very short window.
Yeah. I've been thinking about, what AI is going to do in terms of, financial distribution, and I feel like you made the comment on this podcast probably 8 to 10 months ago about how there is this disappearance of everything that is in the middle ground. Like
middle ground,
content is becoming shorter and shorter or longer and longer. And and I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen to wealth distribution with AI. There are people who are going to earn absolute bucket loads of money from it, and everyone else is going to get poorer and poorer, and the middle ground is going to disappear.
Middle ground. I was saying that. I've been saying that since at least 97.
Right.
So at least 25 years. Let's say I've been saying the middle ground, you're in trouble. So anything anyone's doing in the middle ground, if you're not already gone, you're next.
Yeah, right.
And so you got to find a way to elevate or to find multiple smaller streams to survive, because nothing in the middle is going to last. And still very much my and over these 25 years, it's certainly been borne out to be true.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love, but beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
I had another thought as well. This is just a random. I was talking to, I think it's the Tamron guy, the new Tamron rep, just yesterday. Yeah. And talking about, he's bemoaning, not in a negative way, but just mentioning that Canon has so locked down their RF mount that no other manufacturer can come up with a lens to work with it. So Tamron haven't got them, Sigma haven't got them.
Will they not license it to it?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Which is where Sony's done quite well and Fuji's doing okay, but Canon have completely locked down their mount. And I'm thinking, I don't understand the logic behind it.
No.
Because it's always been accepted that other brands will make lenses for your product.
Yep.
And by doing so, by giving people options, it makes the system more accessible.
Yeah.
The Sony, I think one of Sony's biggest advantages is when they started taking it off as mirrorless. It wasn't so much the fact that it was mirrorless, but with adapters you could put any lens onto it.
Yeah.
You had access to almost everything going around.
Yep.
And that freedom, that flexibility, I'm sure, is extremely appealing.
Yeah.
If you've got a couple of really nice lenses you love at home, and you don't want to lose, I've got an adapter, great, I'm going to use it. And I'm sure I'm positive there's adapters for RF mounts, but I think Sony gained a lot of traction early because it was accessible, and there were eventually other third-party manufacturers. Still took a couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
But Canon not having anything.
Wow.
And,
I can see them. I can see them by locking other third-party manufacturers out of that market. It means that Canon can put a higher retail price on the lenses that they produce. But at the same time, that's going to frustrate the end users who go, why should I be, hogtied to pay these higher prices when I could jump to, brand X, whatever brand X they happen to choose to go to, where I not only have the manufacturer's lenses, but also the third-party options.
Yeah. No, I pulled a quote. I was looking at a thing on D Preview it's a new business Bruce called
Excellent.
DP Review, a digital something reviewing, and they do like articles on photography and stuff. And this one guy was talking about Canon RFs, and he's saying they recently locked down the mount to third parties, meaning they can price gouge their own customers. So exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I honestly looked at Canon in a serious way, but I just could not do it to myself. It's a farce, in my opinion.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's that certainly backs up your thoughts on that. And he's also the same guy said the Canon's RF mount's been going for almost 5 years. There's still no 21.4 or 21.8. There's no quality 24, 1.4 or 1.8. He's been and when they first came out, there was these really big, really heavy, really expensive, phenomenal quality lenses. Yeah. But that defeated the purpose of having a small camera by having these massive bloody lenses to go on them. Yep. And that whole, well, where's your target market to try and get mass popular appeal? And I think I went down the rabbit hole of this because they've just released like a 24 to 50 for their full frame.
Right.
And 24 to 50 is an unusual focal range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small, and it's cheap, but it's an unusual focal range. Yeah.
There's nothing exciting in that focal range, is there?
There's not a. And I was thinking, there's some strange lens choices that manufacturers make. I don't understand why they think, let's make this lens before this more common or more popular lenses. Why not? I don't know. And we were talking before about the marketing departments in like a Tamron. So what's their mindset? What's their focus? And what's their reasoning for some of the stuff they do? And I think it's been a bane of existence for bloody photographers for years, is the strange choices these companies seem to make, where they prioritise something obscure before they prioritise the high demand product.
Yeah.
Very odd. Very odd indeed. Anyway, that's it from me.
Okay. Well, I got a couple of things from Philip Johnson. One was from irishnews.com.
Really?
Yes. And this is: a camera captured its own dramatic end as flames from the SpaceX launch melted it. Look at that lens. Oy, oy, oy. The camera set up by a NASA photographer could not complete its mission as flames from a small brush fire damaged it. So it wasn't the flames of the SpaceX launch, it was the brush fire that happened to rip through the area where the tripod was situated.
God. Have you seen the video?
No, I haven't, but you got to feel for the guy who went to all the, trouble of putting a plastic bag around the body of the camera in case it rained, and the lens gets completely melted by fire.
I'm not sure if it's a time lapse or it was a video, but there's footage, and this black bit of melted plastic slowly falls down the lens.
So it looks like the brush fire might have actually been caused by the launch.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
wow. Talk about unfortunate. Yikes.
Man. Tripod looks all right, though.
Yeah.
Tripod's done okay.
That is crazy.
But here's the weird thing, too. If you that's before the... I was looking at the setup. Everything looks okay. It doesn't look like the bush around it's burnt very much.
Right.
Yeah, well, certainly the bush behind it's still all nice and green and stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's weird, but yeah, that's not buffing out. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing that Philip Johnson sent us was just it's a story we all heard about back when it happened, and that was David Dushman. It's been 12 years since he had his very nasty fall in Paris. Italy, not Paris. Yeah, and he put up something on his blog about it, and Philip has sent us a link to the original story when David posted this, was back in 2011. He said, not sure if it's a Shutters Inc. story, but we certainly wish him well. That we do.
Well, it is, because he's had to have his foot amputated.
Yes.
And so I've been watching, he did a blog post before he went into surgery about it, because he wasn't sure what kind of mind step he'd be in afterwards, having the amputation, and it's just been getting worse and worse. The pain's been never stopped, and his mobility's been getting less and less and less and less and less for a long, long time.
Yeah,
and so they got to the point, well, you can either stop going out and exploring and photographing, or we chop your foot off and put a prosthetic on.
Right.
And he says, take it off.
Yeah.
And with the hope that he's going to be able to get more mobile and keeping going out there, and then his post operation once it came out, and he's saying he's in pain. He's doing okay. He's good, but he's got phantom pain from where the foot was, and all this sort of stuff, but he's in mostly good spirits and doing well.
Excellent.
And he's been asking people to send stuff to him, messages, and whilst he's sitting around doing nothing, he's enjoying reading people's anecdotal stuff and things like that. So
nice.
When he was in hospital, that's one of the things that kept him going, was just he took books and magazines but couldn't focus enough to read, so he'd just pop on and just read what people were saying and sending messages to him, and that kept his spirits high, which was good.
Nice.
Because he's a lovely guy, David, and a brave call to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess if the option is, you can take this course of action and never be able to go out and photograph again, or you can take this other course of what seems like very drastic action but may actually still allow you to get out and take some photos. As someone, like either you or I, who has a passion for that, you'd probably go, well, that might seem drastic, but at least I still get to do what I love. So
from memory, they'd already fused his ankle anyway to try and find it. And so imagine he was walking with a cane and very limited mobility anyway.
Yeah.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel, as long as it's not that light at the end of the tunnel, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But I mean, he was the fourth person to fall from the spot that he fell from, where he injured himself that year, and the other three died.
Oy, oy, oy.
So, smashed ankles and broken and damaged pelvis. He was actually incredibly lucky. Obviously, it's not in America it happened, because if one person falls off something and dies, that thing's getting a 40-foot fence put around it.
Exactly.
And it's same here in Australia, and I'm sure lots of places. But amazing that a location is obviously has an issue if 4 people fall off it. And this was, I think it was April or May when he fell, and he was the 4th person that year to have fallen off it. So 3 people had died in the first 3 or 4 months of that year in that spot.
I wasn't aware of that side of the story, and that kind of makes me think, what the hell was he doing?
I know.
Did he not understand the risk he was taking? Because clearly he must have known that it was a risky thing to do.
Not necessarily. A friend of mine was walking along, came out of a hotel, and instead of going down the driveway to the road, he decided to walk across this lovely lawn. And he's just walking along, and enjoying himself, and stepped off the lawn onto what he thought was the road, and it was a 14-foot drop.
Aye.
And he fell the 14-foot, but visually you could not tell.
Whoa!
You could not see it.
Wow.
And he fell and banged himself, but bit through his tongue.
Ooh.
And he had to do a presentation the next morning to the United States Senate. Now, my mate Rob, he's the person, if anything's going to happen to somebody, it's going to happen to him. He's that guy.
Right.
It can happen. Sometimes there's visual clues, or we've all tripped over stuff at night when we haven't realised it was there, or taken a step and it's into a pothole or something. This stuff happens. I don't know the exact location or whether people were putting themselves in risk to get a shot, or was one of those, and I'm feeling more it was one of those locations where it wasn't so obvious that peril could be a mere misbalance away kind of thing. Because David doesn't strike me as a risk taker to that level. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Foolish, not a fool. He's not doing the crazy angle to get the selfie. Kind of guy. Which is where you hear people falling off cliffs all the time trying to get a selfie. He doesn't strike me as that kind of person. So I think it was just a situational thing that it was not unavoidable but unexpected. If that makes sense. So he's amazing he's still alive, but definitely I think it's a perfect story for Shutters Inc. He's been a guest on our show, and he's a fabulous guy, and one of the few photographers I really love. Speaking of, just came to my mind just then, a guy I met on Clubhouse, where people use it to chat about stuff. I met this photographer called Cody Conk, C-O-N-K, landscape photographer based out of the US, a few years ago. And he was a lovely guy, and I did a couple of Zoom calls with him and stuff, and a lovely guy. And then he was going on a trip, and I managed to get him a Tamron lens to loan, which promptly got his back window of his car smashed and stolen out of the back of his car.
No.
But he's just become a Tamron USA ambassador, which I'm delighted in.
Nice.
And if you want to look at some fabulous landscape photography, he's bloody good. Cody, C-O-D-Y, Conk, C-O-N-K. Go check out his work and tell him Glenn sent you. He's got he does some amazing stuff around Yosemite and things like that. Just
nice.
Beautiful stuff. And it's not it's subtle. It's not over the top. He's got a few too many pointing torches at the Milky Way. A few too many. I've had a go at him about his colours of his jacket colour choices and his tent colour choices. But mate, you buy a tent for its weatherproofing, and it's a way of keeping you protected, not as how its colour looks in the photo, when illuminated from inside. But no, some of his landscape stuff is gorgeous. So if you like a good landscape, go check him out.
Cool.
And that's it.
No, that's not it.
No, it's not. Oh, shit, there's more.
Darktable 4.4 was released today.
Is it better than 4.3?
Well, 4.3 is not an official release. With Darktable, every even numbered dot release is an official release, and every odd numbered dot release is the development cycle that leads up to the next stable release. So 4.3 was the development cycle that led to 4.4, which was released today.
So is it better than 4.2?
allegedly, I haven't even looked at it. I have been.
You're moving house. Who's got time?
Exactly. I have
You're busy
not
putting up orange lighting.
I do not have time. I've not had. I honestly haven't produced a video for my channel for about 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not that I don't want to, it's just I've had so much, like I said, pretty much every weekend we're out looking at open houses and,
of course,
and when your commute is 3 hours 45 every day, by the time I get home, have some dinner, clean up the kitchen, it's time for bed. So it's been hard going. So I'm kind of looking forward to finding a house that we can move to, which will shorten my commute and actually give me some time back to, actually get back into creating some content. So I had a very quick flick through the release notes this morning, and it looks like there's some nice stuff there, but I'm not going to go into details because I'm not sure how much of our audience here actually uses Darktable, but I will put a link to the release notes in the show notes of this episode. So if you are a Darktable user or you're interested, you can check out the new features in 4.4. And the last thing.
Do you catch the train?
Yes, I do catch a train.
You should do some live from the train video content. People would love that. Yeah, the photo commuter or something you call it. Yeah, but people, as long as you've got reasonable audio, and the content's, I reckon people would go ape for that.
I'd feel a bit self-conscious sitting there talking to myself on the train.
It would be hilarious. It would be awesome to see.
And the last thing was over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been looking at my inbox on Gmail. And I've been a Gmail user for, 15 years now. Every time you buy something, every time you enter your email address somewhere, you end up on somebody else's bloody email distribution list. And my inbox had become quite noisy with all these email lists that I'm on. And so for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been, instead of just hitting delete like I have always done, I've actually been scrolling down to the bottom and finding the unsubscribe link and clicking on that and going through the hoops of getting off of their email lists. And so over this 2 or 3 week period, it's actually got to a point now where I'm only getting, maybe 3 or 4 emails a day that I don't actually want, where I was getting probably 25, 30. Yeah. And so it's been quite nice to do that and to, just calm the noise. But one of the emails that came in a couple of days ago was from the filter manufacturer Nissi, or Nissi. I'm not sure how they pronounce it.
It's nice eye.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, okay. You could have had me believing it.
I know.
And what I was not aware of was that they have a filter which does 16.6 stops of neutral density. And these things are designed for shooting the sun.
Man.
I was like, what?
Wouldn't you have to stand really still for that, though? Max. Because the length of exposure is going to be...
Well, if you're looking straight at the sun, I'd imagine you'd be...
the sun?
Yeah.
I thought you said your son.
No. My son's not that bright.
I know being in the military, he's able to stand at attention pretty well, but that's...
He's not that bright. I love him.
Good thing he, like no one else, listens to this podcast.
That's it. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. But what I also find interesting is that all their marketing points to their eBay store. It seems like they don't actually have a website. Well, not that I've gone looking. Maybe they do and I just haven't looked for it. But... Yeah. But 16 and a half stops, an ND 10,000.
10,000.
I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy. Anyway, so that is it.
Very cool.
That is it for this 2 weeks.
We're done like a dog's dinner.
We are. So,
that was a long one, so we should break it up into 2 parts and we can put it out for the next 2 weeks and job done, dude.
It wasn't really that long. I'm seeing an hour and 1 minute, and by the time I've finished editing, it'll be 50 minutes. So,
I say, if you're just cutting out the good content, it's a 30-second advert.
All right, mate. What do you got on for the next couple of weeks?
I've got to go film.
Oh, yeah.
That and just finishing up this project for Tamron.
Yep.
And school holidays starts tomorrow. So.
Oy.
I know. That's what I just need, like a hole in the head. Couldn't come at a worst possible time. But if it was 2 weeks later, I'd have the Tamron job finished and be good.
Yeah.
But no. My youngest is going in for oral surgery tomorrow, so she's going to be pretty sick and sore for a few days, having a tooth growing in the wrong direction, in the wrong underneath her gums. So, sort of sideways.
Is that a wisdom tooth?
No, it's actually the front, right, one of her adult teeth in the front of her mouth.
Wow.
Growing sideways, and so got to go chop that out. So it's $5,000 down the toilet.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then we need $10,000 of braces on top of that.
Oof. Wow.
Kids.
Yeah.
It's too late to return them, apparently. And obviously, looking at the cost, it's beyond guarantee, though. The warranty's run out.
Yes.
Not getting anything fixed under guarantee.
We wish her well.
Thanks, mate. And you good luck with your house hunting.
Thank you. We'll,
may your houses be full of studios.
Yes. Yes. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
No, mate. Take care.
See ya.
Bye, all.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.